So great, thank you, everyone. I'm going to be discussing Mintek's contribution towards a circular economy in the mining sector. But if you please bear with me, I'd just like to give you some information about Mintek, some introduction. I think I missed an opportunity to share on the work that is being done in Mintek. So I'll just do a few slides on that, and then I'll go right into the work that is being done in the circular economy space. So Mintek is essentially a research organization, and we are involved in, we specialize in minerals processing, extractive metallurgy, and related areas. And we do believe that we are well positioned to be both useful for both government as well as to be industry-focused research institution. And so in terms of our mandate, Mintek is mainly responsible for research and development of efficient minerals processing technologies and value-added products. And this is to improve technical processes and methods for mineral production, as well as fostering the establishment and expansion of industries in the fields of minerals and products derived therefrom. And then also to transfer Mintek developed technologies to industry. And also quite important is then developing the human capital and organization skills to build a world-class R&D facility. So we've heard from CGS earlier on where they would be involved in the exploration and mining side, whereas Mintek is rather more focused on the concentration, extractive metallurgy, refining, part of it manufacturing, which is more CSIR focused, but we also play a big role in the manufacturing space. And then what is quite important is the post-mining, and a lot of what I'll be talking to you today is the post-mining section. And so just to give a quick overview of the type of work we do, we've got minerals processing and characterization, where we'd essentially be doing comminution work, characterizing our rock materials, and then looking for feasible technologies to extract the metals of interest. We then also are involved in modeling and designing and optimizing current processes, as well as developing new processes. Mintek has been quite critical in the PGM space, developing the UGM, the UG2 PGM and chromite ores on the markets. That has been quite critical for us. We've developed quite a few process flow sheets and that are currently used in the mining industry at the moment. So quite a bit of money has been spent there, investment of about 120 million from Mintek, EU partners and industry partners to develop most of the flow sheets that are currently used in the mining industry. We are also responsible for, we've also been developing process control systems. On the mining industry, we look at all processes, not just milling and flotation, but even the smelter technologies. We develop process control systems for that. And so we are active in 32 countries. I think earlier on, there was mention of vanadium and iron and titanium being quite critical in developing technologies. So currently we are developing a technology to separate vanadium, iron and titanium, and we are in the construction phase, so quite a bit of research and development has been done so far. We've also slowly getting to a point where we are securing partners and investment. So this facility is moving along quite smoothly. There's also been discussion about critical and battery metals. So we're also playing a big role in that, but rather towards the end of processing in the extractive process, where we try to improve the purity of battery precursor metals. So that is mostly done in our hydrometallurgy division. And also of importance is the work that we do for small-scale miners. Most of the work that we are doing there is training, teaching people how to use raw materials and applying those to the local communities so that they can then derive funding from that. And so those are essentially where most of our operations, our global operations are. We are essentially in Randburg, but we have sold quite a bit of our technology throughout the world to different countries. And the focus, we've looked at all types of minerals, as you can see, gold, PGMs, ferrous metals, base metals, etc. So the focus of today's talk is looking at Mintech's core programs in the circular economy. A large part of it is the recycling, the recovery of metals from secondary resources, the flow sheets that we develop. We're also developing predictive models. We're very much involved in mine rehabilitation and then mine water recycling. And those are what I'd like to talk about today. So when we look at the circular economy, a huge focus for us has been looking at e-waste, being able to sort and characterize. The potential there could be quite big, but we do not necessarily have the policies in place to ensure that we have good e-waste sorting. The issue that we do have now is that the recycling process is not really well evolved in South Africa. I mean, in many other countries in Europe, etc. The actually recycling process in communities is very well evolved. So in South Africa, it's a bit difficult for us to actually push for this e-waste production. But I do think that there's great potential in us being able to extract metals from e-waste. We also look at the characterization of fly ash. Fly ash has been well known to contain rare earth metals, these so-called critical metals. And so we are looking at ways to recover quite a bit of rare earth metals from fly ash. And a large part of what we do is looking at the feasibility and optimization studies of tailings storage facilities to see whether they contain any critical metals, which we can then extract for emerging green energy technologies. Earlier on, I had spoken a lot about the e-waste. So I've stated, there's quite a bit of opportunity for cathode ray tubes, as well as printed circuit boards for us to be able to extract a bit of both lead alloy and copper alloy. We have proven the technology using the furnaces that we do have. But as I've indicated earlier on, we just do not have enough of this material stored or recovered from both industries and domestic use. I think once some type of policy is in place for us to then extract these metals, this type of technology would be very useful. Other mining waste that I've spoken about earlier on is looking at tailings. So we have developed some very good heap leaching processes as well as bio-leaching processes to extract copper, nickel, and cobalt. And these are low capital and low operating costs, low water, energy, and reagent consumption is quite critical for us when developing our technologies. And these type of technologies is really going to allow for us to prolong the life of mine as well as improve job security. Other technologies that we've been looking at is trying to extract gold and uranium from the tailings dumps. As we know, there's about 200 tailings dumps in Gauteng alone that have the potential of both uranium and gold that may be extracted. And we're then looking at better flow sheets that could allow for extraction of these uranium and gold, but at the same time ensure that we prevent acid mine drainage. So Mintech has developed this trademark reflout. It's been demonstrated at one mine, but I think there is still quite a bit of potential for us to then commercialize this. Another area of interest for us is looking at nature-based technologies. So currently we're looking at phytoextraction to extract metal from the tailings. This is also very low-cost technologies. Some field trials have been done with some communities to look at using plants like sunflowers, see whether we could extract arsenic, cadmium, and lead into the plants. So that would be more on the environmental side, but then also use those very similar hypercumulator plants to extract metal that may then be used in the circular economy. There's also an opportunity then to use the non-toxic parts of plants, or the parts of the plants that hasn't really extracted the metal, and that could be used for those communities as well as another way of funding their projects. Another area that is also quite important in the circular economy is where we are looking at treatment of mine impact water. As mentioned earlier on, acid mine drainage is of concern, and a lot of water is being used in the mining industry. A lot of water is being contaminated, and we are then also looking at various technologies to ensure that we can either repurpose water, or we can treat the water, find ways of monitoring the water, and then also ensuring that we do not waste water as well. So there's quite a few projects that are currently being run at Mintek. So we've got a big water program, and we've got 3 trademarked technologies. One we demonstrated last week, which is called Closure, and that is looking at the passive sulfate reduction process for treatment of water after mine closure. We've also have the Savman technology, that is essentially a chemical precipitation technology, where we are using various alkaline material to reduce acidity in water. And then we also have NICMA, which is also one of our flagship technologies that is being developed. So essentially, these mine impact water treatment technologies are essential for future job creation and food security, and then obviously then to protect communities and the environment from contaminated water. In our view, what is quite critical at the moment is the commercialization of these technologies in partnership with mining industry. So as much as these technologies have been developed and to a relatively high TRL level, we are in need of finding good partnerships with the mining industry. So there is a gap there. And then also human capital initiatives. We've developed quite a bit of the technologies in Mintek, but then also to roll out some of these ideas in communities, that is also something that is limiting to us. And then obviously one of the bigger gaps that we need to then consider is the engagement with government and regulators to inform policy development. As mentioned earlier on, the e-waste, there is great potential for us to then extract metal from e-waste, but without having significant amount of material, there isn't really great potential at the moment. I do believe that if we have better policies and better regulation in terms of recycling, there could be a great opportunity to build on the circular economy. So in conclusion, we do believe that Mintek is well positioned in both research and technology. However, like I said, we are industry focused, but there is great opportunity for us to still work closely with more industry players to ensure that some of our technologies are actually commercialized. So partnerships are quite key to ensure that we maximize our multidisciplinary expertise and then accelerate our innovation and then transfer the technology. And I do believe that most of the projects that I've mentioned here before may really assist with the unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Once we've managed to close the gaps, as mentioned, I think there is really a good opportunity for us to build on the circular economy. And yeah, my 15 minutes is up. Thank you very much.